Well, hello there, YouTubers. Hello, hello. All right, well, I have a very interesting subject for you here today. I hope you find it interesting. Um, well, I'll get right to it. This is about the moon, and it's about, well, as the title says, it says there's a giant sphinx on the moon, and, well, I believe there is more than one, in fact. There's two or three, it seems. This is quite amazing. And I hope you enjoy this, and I hope you share this with everybody, because apparently, when the telescope was first invented about 400 years ago, apparently this swept the whole Earth as the biggest thing going, as far as the story goes. So, and somewhere along the line, it got forgotten about. So let's see if we can get it going again here. Um, Alrighty, well, let's get onto it here. So, you may be aware of the fact that there's some kind of weird things about the moon, right? Um, the moon, well, there's a few weird things. The moon's kind of anomalous. The same side of the moon faces Earth at all times, right? And that's kind of bizarre. That's kind of weird. That's strange and odd. It's unlikely. So just to demonstrate what I'm talking about here, let's just say that this here is the Earth right here, okay? And this is the moon. So as the moon goes around the Earth, right, the same side of the moon always faces the Earth. So the same side is always facing the Earth. And then it has no top spin and it has no back spin. So it's the same side all the time. It's always facing the Earth, right? Now, some people may, and by the way, it takes the Earth about what 28 days, let's just say, to go. It takes the Moon rather 28 days to go around the Earth. Okay, fair enough. So some people may try to suggest that, well, it's got just the right amount of spin on it, that it just happens to be that, in 28 days to go around the Earth, and just happens to be that it lines up so that it's always facing the Earth. But that's ridiculous. That's completely unlikely that it could have the precise spin like that. Uh, After a while, it would not line up anymore. You see, that's not the issue there. So it's not that it has just the exact right spin and it just happens to line up by chance. No, it's more like the Earth is flying. It seems like it's a glider, like a flying body, if you will, or some sort of a glider. It would seem um, that because normally celestial bodies or bodies in motion, they're just out in space. They want to sort of, you know, gyrate to their own drummer, if you will. I don't know how to say it, but or to they'll fix themselves to the North Star or something. Their axis, if you will. It's unlikely that something would face the same side would face the Earth at all times. If anything, it would go around like this, and so we'd see all the sides of it, or it would just be in some kind of wacky. Uh, anyway, so and then there's other things about the moon too, for instance, that are sort of odd, like um, the size of the moon when viewed from Earth is the exact same size, relatively speaking, as the disk size sun. So when you look at the disk size of the sun and the disk size of the moon, they're basically totally almost identical. They're so spot on, in fact, that depending on the distance the moon is from the Earth, sometimes you see the total blockage of the sun during an eclipse, and sometimes you see the corona of the sun, like a ring of fire. But that's how close it is. And that's the chances of that happening are just the chances against that happening are just astronomical, and pun intended there. Uh, so so a lot of people think, or a lot of people have suggested or theorized that maybe the moon is some sort of well, some people say spaceship or something, or some people say that maybe the moon was created by our ancestors, or maybe by aliens, or some other thing that there's some things about the moon that just would suggest that it's not quite a natural random feature. In other words, but in this idea that some sort of a dirt clod hit the Earth and it veered off and formed the moon, it just happens to be in this perfect orbit, the perfect same relative size as the sun. That's a little ridiculous. I mean, the chances against that happening are, again, astronomical. Excuse me. You know what? I probably have to make this video again, but, well, I've been meaning to put this out for so long, and, well, now's the time. So maybe I won't make it again. Maybe I will. Let me know what you think. Oh, we're getting to the good part here, kids. Don't worry. Okay, so I was out one day, and I was looking at the moon with my trusty binoculars here, and I was just looking for, and it was a full moon, by the way, on a particular day. It was daylight in the morning, but the moon was up in the sky, and I was looking at it, taking a good look at it. And I was looking for what they call like strakes. Boats have strakes on it. The bottom of a boat will have like sort of like chines or something. These long, straight, almost like channels or maybe boards or something, and they make the boat go straight through the water. So I was looking to see if maybe there was any evidence of the moon having any kind of odd shapes on it or anything like that that might help it to be like a flying body, like a glider that flies around the Earth. You see, and that's when I noticed something about the moon that I'm about to share with you right now. In fact, so let's see if I can find that here, and hopefully I will. All right, so here we go. I think this is. Let's get one of these pictures up here. That might be a bit big. And hopefully this is still, I think it's still recording, so hopefully everything's going well here with this. Okay, so I was looking at the moon with my binoculars, and okay, here we go. And all of a sudden I noticed that on the moon it seemed to be that there's like this face, and I'm going to show it to you right here. So let's imagine that this here is an eyeball here, and this here is an eyeball here, and then here's the nose right here. There's sort of the point on the nose, and here's the mouth. And notice it's sort of like almost like a perfect arch here, almost like a vaulted arch, you might say. So flat here, and then kind of comes up nice and even here. So there's the mouth, right? There's the pointy nose, and there's the nose going up, and then there's an eye, and then there's an eye, and it sort of looks like a face. This would be sort of the cheekbone here. It almost looks like a puma cat, or like maybe the Pink Panther cat. Here, little ear here. Don't worry. There's a black dot here, but don't worry about that just at this time. Try to pretend that's not there. But you can see here's like a cheekbone. It's almost like a skeleton head. And here's like around the top of the head here. You see, and then again here's an eye, and then here's an eye, and here's sort of the symmetrical looking mouth, and there's like a nose there. And so if you look at that, you can kind of see like, wow, there's a face on the moon. Like, look at the size of the thing. It's sort of probably bigger than Texas, you know. But clearly, that looks to me like there's a face on the moon. Now, it's also interesting to point out, if it's hard, it's probably more difficult to see this just looking at these two-dimensional images that I'm putting up on my screen for you. What you really want to do is get out there with a pair of binoculars and take a look at this thing now that you know what to look for. Now, by the way, this is not the man in the moon. The man in the moon is something entirely different altogether. Off from this, that apparently 400 years ago everybody was talking about this, and for some reason they stopped talking about it. Well, anyway, okay, so that's that right there. That's that face there. Now, let's just suppose, for instance, that instead of using this for an eye here and this for an eye, let's just pretend this isn't here and then use this as another eye. So you got one eye here, and then you see there's like these sort of parallel lines over here, or I'm sort of drawing, if you will. Just kind of step back from the picture and look at it. There's like these parallel lines right here. I'm going to zoom out a little bit here and show you this a little more. Oh, I went the wrong way there. My bad. Come on. There we go. So now if you look at this as like this is an eye and this is an eye, and you look at this here, it's almost like, let's say these are like his fingers here, maybe it's Simba the cat face or something. What I want to do here, if I can, let's see here, what I want to do is open up a new, will this work or not? Let's see if it will. Okay, yeah, so what I want to do, so I want to take this here, and I just want to, well, let's see here. Okay, so here we go. I'm just moving. I don't quite have this exactly figured out here, but bear with me, please. Here we go. Okay, so what I want to do here is to take this and just use this as sort of a blocker, if you will, to just sort of block the other thing here. Okay, so here's what we got here. So, all right, here's the first picture. So, okay, right there, I'm going to use this as sort of just a blocking card. Okay, so now, again, so you got an eye here, an eye here, and again, here's like this more mouth or like a nose, like a cat nose or something. Okay, and so here's sort of like this big round head here, and it's got symmetry to it. There's definitely some symmetry to that, right? So anyway, another interesting thing about the moon, by the way, which I'll share with you that I noticed, is that it's got on it this almost what looks like a square, like a perfect square here. You see this here? It's like a box here, right? Oops, I didn't mean to do that. So it's like this box goes up here, over here, and then down here, and then it's like this circle here in the middle of the box, right? So there's a circle here. Now what's interesting is, as I've looked at this, I noticed that the ratio and size of this circle to the size of the entire moon is essentially the same ratio as the size of the moon is to the planet Earth. So that's kind of interesting. But so anyway, so now you've got, so let's recount here what we got. So we got the one face over here, it's an eye here, an eye here, and the nose here, and here's this sort of symmetrical mouth, is one way of looking at it. Or you can not use this for an eye, but use this for that eye over there. And so you got an eye here, and then this mouth here, and it's like this big Simba the cat head. It's like a big cat face here or something. This is almost like its mouth open here. It's almost like think of like a when you play pool, you got like the chalk, and you chalk your pool stick. So think of it as like a four-sided sort of big cube, and this is where you chalk the pool stick or something of that effect. But let me show you something else here, which is very interesting. Let's see here. Here we go. Here we go. So, okay, now we're on to the next thing. There's another face here I want to show you, which is very interesting. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. Come on. Okay, here we go. See if I can move this here. So let's take a look at something else here. So let's go over here. Now, I got to kind of rotate this. It's hard for me to get the rotation exactly right to show you this. Well, maybe I can, actually. Let me try that. Let's try something here. Rotate. Well, I don't know if it's going to do that. I don't know if it'll let me do that. No, it won't. That's okay, though. So I think we've got enough here. So let's, again, look at this some more. So here's another symmetrical face on the moon. It's like you got an eye here, right? And it's almost like this sort of like Roman gladiator helmet or something. I don't know how to describe it, but it's totally got symmetry to it. We think an eye here, and then it's sort of this, and that's just that's rather odd. And again, if you look at this yourself with binoculars, it becomes a lot. See this? It's kind of, for me to just sort of tell you this, it makes it a little bit difficult. But if you look at it for real with binoculars, then it really jumps out at you now that you know what to look for. And it's important to remember that every time you look at the moon, it's going to look a little bit different because you're always seeing it on a little bit different angle than what you might see at the last time or previous time. Like the light is always going to be hitting the moon a little bit differently all the time. Like no matter how many times you look at it, it's always going to be a little bit different. You see what I mean? So, well, don't be afraid of the moon if you are. Anyway, so that's that. So what you have here, you've got a face here on this side. So think of it as like a four-sided pool cue or pool chalk, right? And here's where you put the stick to chalk the stick, and here's this square here, which is kind of odd. And so think of this is an edge here, right? So for what we see here, we've got this sort of edge going right up the middle here. That's where the 90-degree angle would be. So think of it like as a sort of a square thing that's sort of flattened down, like almost like a marshmallow or something, sort of flattened down from the top, just a little bit, not a lot. And so, well, to me, this just once you've seen this thing and once you know what to look for with binoculars, and then you now look for it, it's going to jump right out at you. because you got this is like a it's like the face of man on the body of a lion, right? Because this is a big lion face. When you use the two eyes, it's a big lion face. But if you just don't use that and just have these be the two eyes, then it's kind of reasonable. It's just like the face of a person right there. Here's this cheekbone right here. I kind of turn it sideways, but anyway. And then you got this one over here. This is almost like a bear that's sort of pouncing on something. You got an arm coming down here, an arm coming down here, and he's sort of pouncing on something. Like you're looking at the top of his back right here is one way of doing it, or the top of some sort of helmet, and these are the sides of the helmet, and there's the eyes right there. Um, so, and then what's interesting, by the way, like in the Bible, the last book of the Bible talks about the face of a man on the body of a lion, and something about some oxen or something that's also uh, represented in that book as something that is capable of doing interesting things. Let's just say so. There you go, everybody. There you go. There are the and this to me that equals sphinxes on the moon. That's a big cat face. That's a sphinx. I'm calling it like I see it. I hope nobody is upset with me for my title, but I think I've got a valid video here. I think this shows without a doubt there are faces on the moon. It has symmetry. It's got undeniable symmetry. Is what it has. Undeniable symmetry. And so if you and again use your own binoculars to take a look at it, and now that you know what to look for, it's going to really jump out at you, and it's really kind of amazing. It's an amazing thing, and that's my take on it. So now, by the way, I might put up a Patreon website if any of you want to help me out. That'd be great because I'm basically living here like a bachelor or something. And well, I don't know. It's just well, it would be nice if I could parlay this into something, especially if it goes viral. I mean, if I could sell this information to everybody in the world for 50 cents each, well, that would make me very happy. But also, if you want to just donate a few bucks because you like the video and you like the message, whatever the message. Here's the thing: if there's faces on this moon that are actually uh, carved into that thing intentionally, then that opens up the door to a whole new can of wax here because that just doesn't happen. I mean, you've got evidence of animals sculpting, right? It looks to me. But look with your binoculars and see what you can come up with. And in the meantime, have a good week, a good summer, and a good life, and all that, and all the happy stuff. So there you go. All right. And again, there's links at the bottom. Like the video, please, if you will, and share the video, and well, comment as you like, if you would, at the bottom, and hopefully people will see what I see. I certainly hope so. Thank you.